crafty friends, this is the Paper Chef here. Welcome to part 5 of my Eden's Garden Workshop series. In this series we're using the Eden's Garden bundle by Stampin' Up. The bundle includes the dies and the stamp set. It's available now, even though it's actually in our next mini catalog which launches January 4th, but this is available now because it's one of those special items that was part of a pre-release. So what I want to do is, there are a few things. I wanted to create this card, and then I realized that in my Eden's Garden kit, I didn't provide this particular color of cardstock. It's one of the in colors, Fresh Freesia, but I did provide you with Cherry Cobbler. So what I would like to do is a few different combinations, Stampin' combinations, to give you options using different kinds of cardstock and different kinds of inks that coordinate with each other. And then you'll get to see how those look on paper. And then I'm going to show you how I created this card, how I die cut the pieces, how I sort of layered it up, just the different elements that go into it. Now, I'm not going to do every single thing in each part of this card because of the time. And I did do another tutorial on YouTube. If you look at this paper closely, this is the cotton paper. The cotton paper, the Garden Gems, and this Eden's Garden, or Ever Eden it's called, Specialty Designer Series paper is only available right now until July. Why do I keep saying July? I know it's January coming up. It's available till January 3rd because January 4th we're going to have a new catalog launch, and this special release of this paper and this collection is not available. Although you'll still be able to get the Eden's Garden bundle, like these dies that has these dies, and then it has this. You're still going to be able to get that, but just not the actual paper. So what I wanted to do is give you like lots of options of things to do with that paper. Maybe you'll get to buy some before it's too late. So, and yes, I'm stamping in my pajamas. These are my fuzzy pajamas. And they say, you can't really see it, but it says frenemies, and it has like a little cat and mouse chasing each other. All right, so what I want to do is just do the die cutting first because the stamping gets messy. Now in your kit, and if you don't have a kit, don't worry, just follow along with whichever supplies you have. But in my peeps got the kit, then in the US, then you're able to use what's called the brushed metallic cardstock. So that's what we're going to use first. I'm going to use the bigger Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine, the larger one. Move it a little bit closer so you can see the front of it. You can sort of see the front of it. Maybe I'll tilt my camera a little bit. Let that so you can see it. Okay, so this is the sandwich. Sandwich means the way you put the plates in. And then you're going to use this plate here, which is the plate number 1. And then you're going to use plate number 2, which is for thin dies. And then you're going to use 2 plate number 3s. I'm going to use a plate number 3 here. And then I'm going to use this one. Another plate number 3 here. Whoops. How come it doesn't say 3? Well, you know what? I use other brands too. Or maybe this is one of the old ones. But you need 2 cutting plates, bottom line. So let's go like this. Put this piece of, and last week, by the way, in part 4, I talked about using adhesive. We don't want to use adhesive, the adhesive sheets on this one, because the way we want it to layer, sort of want these to sort of flop around. And I don't mean to flop around a lot, but I want them to kind of be a little bit loose at the end. So I'm not using adhesive because the way that I'm layering all these different things. But if you want to use your adhesive sheets, just use the technique I taught you last week. This is the adhesive sheet material, and you can use that concept I taught you last week. And you know what? Even though I don't need this die for this project, let's go ahead and while you're cutting your brushed metallic cardstock, go ahead and put that middle die in there just to save room, right? And not save room, but save paper. And I'm even going to put this little sprig in there. We can always use the sprig. Sprig works on every project. I also have some vellum that I've pre-cut for you. Oh, there's my other plate 3. It just like appeared out of nowhere. So we're going to go ahead and put the plate 3 on top. So we have 2 plate 3s, one on the bottom and one on the top. And now what I'm going to do is just roll it through, holding, sorry for grunting into the camera, but it is pretty tight. When you use brushed metallic cardstock, it's pretty thick. All right, so I think that's all the die cutting we need because I've done the vellum and everything for you. But I just wanted to show you that so that you can see that. So, but usually before I take this off, I sort of check it. I go like this and I sort of check, did it go all the way through? But I know it goes all the way through, right? So, because I've done this so many times. But you could double check it before you lift this die off. And if not, you know, just run it through again. So now you're going to do this wiggle, wiggle, wiggle. Okay, I don't know why there's no, you're asking about captions. I don't actually, YouTube does the captioning. So I don't know, maybe you guys can help. Who's asking that? Anne? No, Audie? Subtitle. She's asking about subtitles. Maybe you can help her and figure out, like, maybe how to turn those on. Because I don't even know how YouTube figures out what I'm saying so instantly like that with the subtitles. It's beyond me because I speak sort of fast, and it seems to translate it pretty quickly into captions, which is so nice. Because in the past, actually one of my former jobs, believe it or not, I actually never really talk about this on this channel, is I captioned videos to make them compliant. And so before there were instant language recognition, somebody had to type out the entire transcripts of videos and caption them to make to make sure that they're able to be put on websites so that they're accessible. And I used to do that, and it had to be very precise. And I do not like to type, as I've probably told you before. Maybe that's why I've had nightmares from my times of doing that. But it's hard for me to make PDFs. The only way I force myself to make PDFs is when I have like an event, like a club or workshop, and then I have to make the PDFs for the participants because I'd much rather do videos. Probably because of all that precise typing I had to do before. Okay, so anyway, I'm not going to go through this. I just need a little sprig of this, a couple little sprigs. I'm not going to punch out all these right now. So what I'm using is your take your pick tool, and you could use the die brush too. But I'm not actually using the whole frame like I did last week for the box that we created. I'm going to take my little scissors and just kind of get a couple sprigs here. So you want to sort of snip it wherever you see a natural place that would be nice to snip it. And you can poke out with your take your pick tool all the extra bits. And if we have a couple little sprigs, we're good to go. Maybe there's a good spot to cut it. So like that, little sprigs. And we can just use this little sprig. That'll be one of our little sprigs. Okay. We're going to create one complete card with the cherry cobbler background that I've prepared. But we're going to also show you lots of color combinations because this video is about stamping. And I'm actually kind of curious to see how some more color combinations are going to come out. So there's a sprig, and then we're going to take this little piece and just sort of cut it there. Okay, so. And then I have some vellum and some cotton paper that we can also layer up. And you can use these other little pieces as well. Where's my little take your pick tool? So I hope you're enjoying your holiday season and also sitting around your pajamas. I've been watching so much Netflix. I told my husband, I said, I finished Netflix. Like, I keep finding new movies. One movie that's absolutely hilarious, if you want to laugh your butt off, is called Office Christmas Party. And I mean, so funny. So funny. All right, so let's move all this out. Leave that over there. All right. Now, let's start into stamping. So what I have to do is move this little bits here. Out of the way because they'll get stuck on the stamps. Make sure I need to make sure I'm doing anything else here. I just want to make sure that I have all these things done so that I don't get ink all over the place. So what I've done already is cut, and I've taught this in this tutorials, and if not, just go back to some of my other, if you don't remember how to make this kind of card. So I have A2 cards. I already have a couple made. I already have, like, this one's completely ready. It has like the basic white inside. It has a piece of In Good Taste Designer Series paper on the outside, and it is Evening Evergreen. This one doesn't have the inside yet, but it's cherry cobbler. I have a soft succulent with some In Good Taste paper with the white inside. It doesn't matter which way these open. This one opens that way, but I taught you both ways. We'll do a crumb cake maybe, see how that looks. Here's some more soft succulents. We don't need those. And I was thinking of playing around with the old olive and cherry cobbler combination. I thought that might work well because I know you have old olive in your kit. And if not, try your Just Jade. I know Just Jade coordinates with cherry cobbler. All right, so we're going to take this stamp out of here. I'm done with that. We have a piece of paper. So, and this is just my little scrap paper here. So let's put this one. All right, so here's what we're going for. We're going to kind of do this. Just so you see something, let me make sure I'm going to put this down. I'm about to get messy. And I hope you guys can follow along with me. It makes fun for me when you're crafting along with me. Tilt. Okay. We're going for this kind of look where we're going for either, this. I have stuff everywhere, right? We've already made a big mess. I'm going to go for this distinctive stamping look where you're layering up the stamps. Then we're going to layer up the card. So we're going to take out our stamp. We're going to take out this big stamp. Okay. And you're going to put it face up. And you're going to put it on a stamping block. This stamping block's fine. It's stamping block. Move this out of the way. Stamping block D. But to get it on stamping block D, you have to sort of, use it, get it at an angle like that. Okay, so now it's on there. That's all you got to do. And now we also need hello there. We need that. And we're going to put that on, see if this will fit on here at a diagonally. It'll be stamping block C. So diagonal again. Now I already have a couple of little rectangles that I cut already. They're only 1/2 inch by about 2.5 inch. And let's see if I can't do this without messing these up. So I'm going to put this there. It's always good to use your Stampin' silicone mat. Okay, so we'll use the silicone mat. And I'm going to stamp these first because, I guess that one's not. You can do 2 1/4 or 2 1/2. I think I did both, and I think, let me see which one worked better. This was 2 1/2, but then I said, it would fit on 2 1/4. Okay, so, just do it as long as you want it to be for your sentiment. Now, one thing that I think would be good to do, because I smeared my ink recently, is I think it would be better to do a little soft succulent coloring on this before you do the stamping. Because if not, you're smearing it. So I'm going to open up my soft succulent and I'm going to tap into it, or I'm not going to tap into it. I'm going to tap onto here, tap onto my stamping block, and then I'm going to sort of rub my blending brush onto my stamping block so I don't get too much ink on there. And then I'm also going to tap, tap, tap on my stamping mat there. That way I'm not getting a big blob of ink. And then sort of test it a little so that you don't get this like giant blob of ink all over your sentiment. And I just want to especially ink around the edges and then a little bit in the middle, because you don't want like stark white. You don't want stark white, see how it doesn't go. So that's good. See, I'm going for that kind of look. You got a little bit darker on the edges of soft succulent, but then you have inside a little bit whiter where you can see the word better. So there you go. So 2 1/4 or 2 1/2 by 1/2 inch. And hopefully we don't mess those up. So now we're going to try hello there. I'm going to leave the soft succulent open for a moment. We're going to do the hello there and cherry cobbler. So we're going to recreate this card sort of. So open up your cherry cobbler. Get your hello there. And use your scrap paper first, which I just had. And by the way, Sally, if you're watching, this was your thank you letter. But I already shipped your catalog and forgot to put your thank you letter in with it for your order or for your subscription. So anyway, your thank you letter is right here, and I'm using it as a scrap piece of paper since I forgot to include it in the package. All right, so now we're going to go like this. You stamp onto the scrap paper, and now I'm stamping onto my little pieces. I find it so much easier to stamp onto the little pieces that are already cut than to try to cut a straight line on a stamped image. So I tend to have a lot of these little scraps anyway, and I actually have loads of these because when I'm making my little card bases and things, like these are the extra pieces that I always have extra 1/2 inch pieces from making the A2 cards, which you've seen me do many times on this channel. All right, so we have our sentiments, and yay, we have something done. You're like, this card is going to take forever, but it's going to be fun to make. Now we got that. We're going to put that out of the way. So now let's do, we can put, I don't think I even need the silicone mat because I have this thing on my table to help keep everything flat. So if we need the silicone mat, we'll use it, but I don't think I need to. So what I'm going to do is now take the stamp, and I'm going to start with the darkest colors. And distinctive stamping is just taking, distinctive stamping, in my opinion, it's using distinctive stamps. I mean, really, these are distinctive stamps, so the act of using distinctive stamps is called distinctive stamping. But to me, the best way to use distinctive stamps is by layering them up, because they're already semi-translucent, so why not they already look like they're layered with just one color. You'll see what I mean. But why not use a few colors on each one and then really make them look translucent? So I'm gonna do what's called stamping off. And first of all, I want to make sure this is inked up real good. And stamping off just means I'm going to stamp on to a piece of paper first before I stamp onto my basic white cardstock. And that just helps get a little bit of ink off because you don't want these to be too dark. So I'm going to start with the Evening Evergreen. And look at that. I mean, I didn't have to do anything except stamp off onto my paper. Look at this. I look at all the layers. So cool. It has like all this different shading going on because of the way the little dots or the pixels are on the stamp. So we'll do that a couple more times because this is one of our color combinations. So Evening Evergreen. We'll do another Evening Evergreen. We'll do 6 of them. How about that? So because we can. Because we can. Because it doesn't take any longer to make extras. All right, so that's the first. I don't know if you saw, that was 6. I'm done with Evening Evergreen, and I'm gonna just, instead of cleaning off my stamp, since Soft Succulent is a coordinating color, Soft Succulent, I'm gonna clean it off a little bit, but instead of getting out the whole, baby wipe and everything, I'm gonna just go ahead and clean it off by just using a piece of paper, right? But kind of wobble it so you don't get like those harsh edges. Okay, so that's good. Now I'm gonna take the Soft Succulent, and I'm gonna stamp onto the paper. Now I'm going to stamp onto here, but I want to make sure I turn it so that everything's not the same way. So you see the little berries? They were over there, so I'm going to put the berries on this side this time. Okay, see how it's coming together? More layers, more colors. It doesn't look like much of a color shift, but when you add your third color, you're going to go, oh, I get it. There's a third color. So I'm just now turning my stamp and stamping on there. Now, it also serves to make this whole embellishment bigger. So it has a couple purposes. I'm fixing these lines that I missed. I'm layering up the different colors. And I'm fixing in the white spots. So just stamping onto this paper and then stamping on here. So now I have 2 colors. So we have Soft Succulent and we have Evening Evergreen. So now, before I get into the fun colors, let's take, and I say fun meaning when we jazz these up with different colors, I'm going to take a little baby wipe and I can't mix this with Old Olive because that would be a bad idea. Because Old Olive is not one of the coordinating colors. I mean, so Soft Succulent and Evening Evergreen go well together, but if you put Old Olive on those, it'll be like, oh no. So Old Olive I'm putting by itself over here. That'll be our third column in my experimentation for you. And so to get those to dry, so I'm using a little baby wipe, and then I'm just going to stamp it onto, just to let it dry. But if you want to get a close-up look, you can see there's little dots on the stamp, and that's where the distinctive stamping happens, with the different concentrations of the dots. It's something that Stampin' Up! Came up with maybe a couple years ago. I can't remember exactly when. We'll see if I cleaned it good. Pretty good. Okay. Okay, good. So one more time just to make sure there's no water on there. So now I'm going to stamp onto the paper, and then I'm going to stamp onto my basic white. Okay, and that is Old Olive. I'm using Old Olive for this combination. Okay. Okay, so now I'm just going to use, like for this one, I'm going to do 2 colors, and then all these I'm going to have 3 colors. So now we can get into our cherry cobbler and how that will look. So, because that was, clean this off. Okay, get it to dry. Okay, I still see a tinge of green on there. All right, good, good, good. Cherry cobbler. Move this out of the way. We're going to put a cherry cobbler layer, and we're going to stamp it off again. Always stamp it off because, well, you don't always have to stamp it off, but it's just too dark otherwise. And let's turn those berries again this way, sort of. All right, looking good. Okay, we'll do that a couple more times. Turning the stamp each time. Okay, and I'm going to save this for some other ink colors. And let's do the Old Olive Cherry Cobbler combination. Is anyone stamping along with me? Let me know. In the comments, I'll say hi to you in a minute. Don't worry about that blob over there because you're going to cut these out anyway. You have to actually cut these by hand. The scan and cut would have a hard time recognizing these. And even if I go straight on there, it's not going to be a problem. But it's good to stamp off first, so it's not too dark. All right, I'm happy with the cherry cobbler combination. So let's look so far at what we have. The Old Olive Cherry Cobbler combination and the Soft Succulent Evening Evergreen Cherry Cobbler combination. And now we're going to do a couple in colors with these for the in color combination. So Evening Evergreen and Soft Succulent are part of our in color family or in color group. In color collection, I guess we call them collection. In color collection. And the in color collection comes with 5 colors, and we know in it, we have it for 2 years, and we know that they go well together because these Stampin' Up! Graphic artists, they combine these, right? So they combine these for us, so we know that these are the 5 ink colors and that they're going to coordinate. So I don't have to worry, I don't have to think about using these with these, right? These are going to go well with these because they're our in color collection. So now, what I'm going to do is use those throughout here just to show you how those look. Okay, so let's do the light one, right? Because if we do the light one first, then we're done, and we won't worry about getting that on the next stamp. So we're going to put some pale papaya. Let's make sure. Let me turn this over. I got to get my scrap paper. Scrap paper, I'm just using copy paper. So I'm going to make sure there's no, see that? There was a little bit of cherry cobbler left on there. Good, I'm glad I used that scrap paper. This is how you keep your stamps clean. Ah, nice. Okay, so nice. Now I'm going to take the pale papaya, stamp it off once. I was just doing that to clean it. Now I stamped it off once, and we're going to go up here and turn those berries. I don't know if they're berries, but the round little things as part of your spray. Okay, see how that's layering up nicely? Okay, we'll do that on 2 of them. We'll do that on the next one as well. And we'll combine it with something else. So we'll do that. Actually, here, we can do that on all 3, but then what we'll do is we'll put fresh freesia with one or with 2 of them, and then we'll put the fresh polished pink. We'll put fresh freesia on one of them, polished pink on another, and then both on the other one. How about that? That way we can really compare. So this one I do want to clean with a little baby wipe. So just a little bit of pale papaya, not much. You know, it's a very light color. All right, good, good, doing good. I'm also, while I have my baby wipe out, I'm going to clean that hello there off of here. My hands aren't as bad as I thought they'd be at this stage of the game. Usually I mess up all of my things, like all my papers. All right, I think I'm done with the pale papaya. We're going to do, let's get rid of the ink. Let's make sure there's no ink on there. See, there's a little bit of water on there. Oh, you can't really see it. A little bit of water. Hello, Felicia. Welcome to my channel. I'm glad you're here. I do a lot on my channel. I do Stampin' Up! Demonstrations, workshop series. That came out good. I do scan and cut tutorials because I love using the Brother Scan and Cut. And I do paper pumpkin demonstrations. Like the last video I did was 18 projects you can create with your paper pumpkin kit. So a lot with Stampin' Up! Products. So that's fresh freesia. Now we'll do that again. Fresh freesia again. And then we're going to do a polished pink down here. I'm going to show you a closer up. Look at this. Okay. So that is just those 4 colors, and now we're going to do, I better use the new baby wipe. We'll go over all the combinations. Okay. So we've done fresh freesia. Now we need to do a polished pink here and a polished pink there. That's what we're going to do. Polished pink. See how dark that is? You don't want to do that dark. That's why you want to stamp off. So stamping off. So polished pink. Okay. That one came out a little blotchy. I wonder if it's because it's a little wet. See how that's a really, really dark one. So I'm going to just see if I can't get a lot more ink off of that one, and we'll do it down here. All right, good. So what I came out with, or what my favorite kind of combination, and that's what I did the first card with, was that one where you use the pale papaya and the fresh freesia as opposed to the pink. The pink, I think it's just the way my ink is. It's not really about the color. The color looks good. It's just about my ink is very splotchy. And it could be because I have a lot of liquid still on there from the... All right, getting rid of that scrap paper. Here we go. So we'll go over. So this one, these ones were all the same. They were Evening Evergreen, followed by Soft Succulent, followed by Cherry Cobbler. All three. These were just Old Olive, followed by Cherry Cobbler. Okay? So they can get that holiday look going on. And then this one was Evening Evergreen, Soft Succulent, Pale Papaya, and Fresh Freesia. Okay? Now let me show you what that looks like on the card. Okay? That's what it looks like on the card. That exact combination. The next one is those same, but we also added the polished pink, and then this one was the polished pink pale papaya without the fresh freesia. Okay, so that's your combination, and that's how I get that effect. Now, so next step is you're going to cut those out, and I started cutting it out. So I didn't want to make you wait for me to cut out the whole thing. So I'm going to show you sort of how this card comes together. So you're going to cut it out loosely with your scissors, but I just kind of keep that little piece there. And first I make a big circle, and then I just sort of cut. And if you want to, the reason I wanted to show you this is because sometimes you get those little dots on distinctive stamps, which are super annoying on the edges of your stamps. So look at that. Look how super annoying. Well, I don't know if they're annoying to you. I'm calling them annoying, but they might not be. See how there's like little extra dots there? So what I like to do is just cut those dots off so that the edges aren't so harsh. Okay, so that's what I wanted to show you. You don't have to cut them all off, but you know what I'm saying? You can cut them off. So this is what that looks like, and I leave the little points on there. And I'm getting rid of most of the white, but you can't get rid of all the white, and I'm going to show you how to make this even better after you're done cutting it out. Okay, so I didn't want to make you wait for me to cut out the whole thing, but this is very therapeutic. You just cut these out while you're watching TV. I'll be cutting these out while I watch more movies, right? And you just, I first make a little circle. So I'm going to use these. This is my Stampin' Up! Scissors, which I use for fine cutting. These are my coarser scissors. Fuzzy cutting. Yeah, I know what you're saying, right? Well, you could try to use a scan and cut. There's enough contrast, so you could probably use a scan and cut. But what I find it easier to cut a little shape out first, and then to cut around it, so you get this piece off like that. All right, so now what you're going to do is you're going to go back to that soft succulent that we had before, and you're going to open up your soft succulent, and you're going to put some on. Just put some on a stamping block, right, like that, so it's not so you can control how much ink goes onto your blending brush. And this is a blending brush. So what you want to do next is you're going to blend the edges. Okay, so you're going to take a little bit of soft succulent, tap there or on the silicone mat, whichever, so get your big blob of ink off that you can blend your edges. If you don't tap your little blob off, you end up with like a really big harsh edge. The very harsh edge you're trying to avoid, you end up with a harsh edge. So now that's what I'm doing to get rid of all the white spots on the outside of my little embellishment. See, so then it doesn't matter really how pointy you get the edges because you're still kind of covering them up with your soft succulent. Don't worry about the middle of this because you're going to put the hello there over that anyway. Okay, so you're going to layer up your hello there with your dimensionals. Everything's going to be now, you're going to use a lot of dimensionals and some of your rolling adhesive. So you're going to put a few dimensionals on here. And you're going to don't take the backs off of those yet, just put them on there. And let's close the ink. Got to wipe my hands one more time so I don't get ink all over my cute little pajamas that my hubby gave me. All right, here we go. Putting the hello there on there with the dimensionals. So two of those. This is the one that was a 1/2 inch by 2 1/2, I believe, or you can do again 2 1/4. So let's see which way we're going to have it facing. Let's see. I'm I'm going to put that on a card. I mean, maybe, I kind of want those little berries not to be blocked, you see? Not all blocked, so something like that. All right, so that's how I'm gonna attach it. And now to layer up your card, I'm gonna get my piece of cherry cobbler. And you're gonna now take your little piece of, let's move this out of the way, this beautiful designer series paper that's retiring soon. Retiring meaning it's part of a special collection. So I'm taking the Eden's Garden Specialty Foil Designer Series paper, and I'm gonna go for 4 inches. Oops, I better put this down on the table so I don't get wonky. Okay, 4 inches. And we're going to do it by 5 1/4. Okay, so much for having a flat table. My table's not flat, but hopefully that's okay. 4 inches by 5 1/4. While you're there, you can go ahead and make your little belly band if you want. And see how I made a belly band on this card? So the belly band's like a 1 1/4 inch. I forgot to put it on this card. But while you're there and you have the exact measurements, just go ahead and push that in and make it like a 1 1/4 or 2 inch, whatever you want. And I say belly band because that's kind of what I put on boxes and I call them belly bands. So it's not really a belly band, but just another little piece to put on your card. It's just another layer. So in other words, while you're there and while you're cutting it and you flip it over, you know it's the exact same size. It's the other side of that, but it's the exact same width across because you just cut it at the same time. Oh boy, it's time to sharpen my blade. See what happens? Use a jagged, my blade is so dull. I usually keep 2 blades on my paper trimmer, and one is sharp and one is not. One is for like cutting the foils and things, and one is for cutting cardstock. Oops, I put the adhesive on the wrong side. Oops. You can get, see how much ink I still have on my hands? You can get your rolling adhesive off if you're quick, but then what happens is, if you're, let's see, yeah, if you wait too long, it kind of cements in there. Did I just get a super chat? Online strips without. Not sure what that means. Love face XYZ, not sure what that means, but thank you. Okay, awesome. Okay, so I got the adhesive off in time, and this kind of paper really doesn't matter if you go right side up or upside down. I'm just going to put that across the middle. This just adds another layer, another dimension to your card. And then I'm putting a little outline of rolling adhesive all around. And you saw me make the sprigs earlier, so put that here. Put that 1/4 inch margin going on. So this is going last. This is your top of your card. So let's give you a little looky-loo at that, so you can see how I kind of put this all together. So, and then I'll just kind of give you examples and kind of follow those as I go. So we have this piece. We have this card. I'm just showing, kind of using a combination of what I use for these 2 cards. So I have, last week we talked, maybe it was the week before. It's all a blur. In fact, the whole entire 2020 and then 2021, but especially 2020 was a blur. But then 2021 just was fast. I don't think it was a blur, just more like what happened to it. It was just fast. Well, anyway, in one of my tutorials recently, I showed you how to cut out vellum and how to cut out cotton paper and all that kind of stuff. So now at this point, you're going to take a little bit of adhesive and put it on your card to start sticking those things. Now remember, this is going to be right there in the middle. In fact, that already looks pretty with your card. You can just do that. You don't even need the border. But if you want to put a border, you can. We're not going to put a border die on this one, but that's just one of our borders dies. We'll work with borders dies in another video. But what I'm saying is, like, say you're not going to see what I'm showing you. Like, you're not going to actually see this vellum, the part that I'm adhering. So you can go like this in the middle of your card and put it kind of like, see that? Like X marks the spot, because you're going to be covering that all up. So now you know my secret to, like, it's all messy under there. But that stuff is going to, what you're layering. So you put that little X there, and then you can go like that, and then you can go like there. You can put one of these there, like that, and then you can put one of these. Here, I think we do need another sprig. But here's some cotton. Here's some cotton paper. We can put one of those there. Let's see, I have some more vellum. I have some of this. I showed you how to use the in color shimmer vellum. We can use that, or we can use this piece of vellum like that. Okay, we need more. We're starting to need more adhesive there, but still putting some there, and maybe a little more, little adhesive there on top of these layers. You can still put more adhesive. Put that sticking out that way. And I think we need a little piece of gold at the bottom. What do you think? And we can use this. This one is the one that's in your kit. This is the retired shimmer vellum, shimmer gold, not vellum, retired glimmer or shimmer paper. But this one here, I used this one for this tutorial tonight, the one I'm using right now, because you know what? This one is called Brush Metallic Cardstock, and it's still available. At least it was when I checked. I don't know if it's available at this moment, but it's available, meaning it's part of our catalog. Brush Metallic Cardstock comes in light gold, like a white gold, and then it comes in like a gold. This would be more traditional gold, this one. And then it also has this brass color, or copper, I don't know what that is, copper brass. That color there. So Brush Metallic Cardstock. Here, I'll just show it to you. This is what I'm using. See? Light, this one, and this one gold. So right now I'm using the regular gold. There's light white gold, and there's this copper looking one. All right, so let's see. One more time. We're going to put this there, and we're almost done. Here. Before I put this one down, I want to make sure I don't really hide, and I have enough. See, there's no adhesive there, so I need adhesive. I'm trying to make that stick right there. See? I think I'm going to make it stick out this way. Oh, yeah. See, lots of layering going on this card, but it's so simple. And if you get a bunch of these little pieces of crafty goodness here and just start punching them out and cutting them out, then when you make a bunch of cards all at once, I'm going to show you my giant pile of cards. It's just gotten so huge. So now that all that stuff's sticking there, it looks a little messy in the middle, but that's what this is for. Take these off. Take these off, these little backs of your dimensionals. Make sure there's nothing on there. And stick this down, and your card is almost complete, but you need your bling. Gotta have your bling. Garden gems are only available till January 3rd. Where's my garden gems? I can't get enough of these, but I'm probably going to have to pace myself because I am totally waiting till Sale-A-Bration begins January 4th. I've reached my limit on a lot of things. Stampin' Up! Demonstrators are allowed to get like, see, these are cherry cobbler little dots. We're allowed to get only like 2 of many things, 1 or 2, and so it's like, they had to cut me off. I need to go to Crafters Anonymous because I get cut off. You've reached your limit. So now I have to wait till January 4th to get more stuff. Okay? But if I want these little gems, I have to order them before January 4th. So what a quandary. I think I have some coming now. I just don't have all my orders from before. If you're going to use little embellishments, try to use like an odd number. So I use 3 of those and 2 of these. So I have 5. Just like I did here, I have 5. See? Actually, I have more than 5, maybe 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Because I put 2 there. Why did I put 2 in the middle? Because I got some extra ink on the side there. And because of the extra ink, you know, I had to cover it up with some garden gems. So see how I used that little, this little belly strip or this belly band in the middle? And then for this card, there's a lot more going on this one, but you know how to make it now because you actually I just showed you the distinctive stamping. Like this card here is what this one was here. It's the Evening Evergreen, Soft Succulent, Pale Papaya, and Fresh Freesia. Cut it out and do this to it. A little bit of inking with your Soft Succulent. But I wanted to show you this. This is something I did on YouTube, and it's called How to Color, the tutorial was called How to Color Cotton Paper. That cotton paper is available till January 3rd. Now, you can stamp onto the cotton paper and then emboss it. This embossing folder is also retiring. It's called, I think it's retiring. Pretty sure it is, but it's called the Subtle 3D Embossing Folder. I really love it just for adding a little bit of texture to things. Then I put some paper behind it, some paper, and this is a border. So this is a nice background to have. I made a bunch of extra backgrounds so I can throw cards together quickly. Just like here, I was making a bunch of these. Like these are ready to go. I'm not sure which occasion yet. Oh, I wanted to show you this, how that would look with this. See? See that? Look at this. This is my old olive one. I'm going to play with that next. I'm going to cut this one out and do a whole layering thing with some you know, some of this kind of paper, some kind of neutral papers, and some old olive cherry cobbler combination. So that's just what I do to make cards quickly. But if I'm not sure what they're going to be, like, are they going to be birthday? Are they going to be sympathy? So I don't finish cards. I have a lot of unfinished cards because I'm not sure what sentiments I'll be putting on them yet. Is it going to be a happy card or a sad card or a friendship card? So if you have a bunch of card bases made, you can finish, and you have a bunch of crafty goodness cut out, crafty goodness meaning this kind of stuff, then you can put together these kinds of cards in no time. All right, so let me say hello, and we're on part 5. And I want to show you what we made in parts 1, 2, 3, 4, and also give you ideas on what to do with this Eden's Garden collection. Yeah, okay, I think it is spam, not a super chat, Yvonne. I don't know. Thank you, Yvonne. I don't know, somebody's spamming some kind of advertisement. How do they even find me and to spam me? I just came live and I didn't even announce I was coming, and the spammers found me. All right, hello, Pam. I'm glad you love your Christmas vacation and having fun. And Anne from Pennsylvania. And Nola, who's in the snowing, where it's snowing in Oregon. And Audi, I wonder how you say that, Audi from France. C is there stamping in her pajamas too. And Deborah, hello. Felicia. Lala's Crafts, Yvonne. Nice to see all of you guys. And then we had the spammer, but we'll still say hi to the spammer. Okay, where's my pile? I just want to make sure there's nothing on my hands here. I mean, I see stuff. See, look at my hands. I just like, I'm really kind of afraid to like show you my projects without cleaning my hands one more time, because these projects were an incredible amount of work, but I do love them. And at the end of my Eden's Garden Workshop series, somebody from the US that got one of my kits is going to get one of each project I created in the series. And the series is going to complete in January, this whole series. All right, so part 1. I don't even know what part 1 was right now, but I'll just start showing you, and I'll get to part 1. I think it's this one down there. But here are some other examples of things you can create with the Eden's Garden collection. Okay? And you can see how you could stamp the inside as well. We could have done that to the cards tonight, stamp the inside. Okay, here's some techniques where I always teach techniques, and techniques for this one were cutting some vellum and cutting and layering the vellum and the shimmer. These were the in-color shimmer vellum, and cutting cotton paper and cutting other kinds of vellum. Let's see, nothing on the inside of that card. I'm pretty sure this was part 1 where we made these cards here. Part 1 in the series was an introduction, and I showed you how to just use the Natural Touch Natural Touch specialty paper, which is in the clearance section right now for only $2. You get 2 12 by 12 sheets of this nice Natural Touch texture paper. And I showed you how to use that along with this specialty paper, the Ever Eden specialty paper. And we made this Hello There card using the stitch rectangle dies. All right, I'm going to keep on moving on. I didn't get to I don't remember what I did in part 2. Maybe it was the nuggets. Maybe it's the box. Honestly, it's all a blur. I did adhesives. But anyway, one time at the very end of my conclusion of my series, I'll tell you what I did in each part. This was not actually part of the series, but this was part of my YouTube channel. On my YouTube channel, I shared how to ink up and color embossing folders. Then this is an example I made from that tutorial. I used the layering diorama dies and the Hive embossing folder to layer up this card. And this card is just, again, using that Hive 3D embossing folder. It's a new embossing folder. Okay, another example of a Hello There card. Okay, another example. This one needs some bling, but I was using it for bingo, and my bingo events are pretty basic, so I wanted to add bling later. Another Hello There card. Nothing on the inside of this one. This technique was the layering vellum. Another example of how to color and layer up and use the 3D embossing folders. I embossed the cotton paper for this card. This is the cotton paper and the new Hive 3D embossing folder. Okay, some more examples of coloring, or stamping onto, I should say, cotton paper, and then using the 3D, or it's called the textures, Tasteful Textiles it's called, embossing folder. Tasteful Textiles embossing folder. More examples of hello there card. Another hello there card with the cotton paper. Thinking of you. This is the technique was coloring vellum. I mean, not coloring vellum, cutting vellum and using adhesive sheets. That was the part that was the one I was missing. Okay, so I did that in one of the tutorials. I talked about using adhesive sheets and cutting out vellum. In another tutorial in this series, I showed you how to make these nugget treats. I think this was part 2. Part 2 of my series, because tonight's part 5. And then part 4 of my series, I showed you how to create these boxes. How we created these boxes. We stamped onto the craft treat boxes. We made this project start to finish. This was that die we just cut out. And I used some gold trim to hold this together. So this is the full completed project with the gold linen trim with some Ghirardelli chocolates inside. Now on this is what I did in the YouTube channel as part of my series. All of these, well, I didn't do all these projects as part of my series, but these are ones I've created with that. Now on Facebook, on one of my Facebook lives, I showed how to make 3 treats, and I've already used one of the treats. But I showed how to make diaper folds. This is called a tag treat, and this is just a little M&M's treat. And this tag treat has Hershey nuggets inside as well, and you know how to wrap them from this tutorial. So that's the tag treat tutorial. So I hope you enjoyed this tutorial on distinctive stamping and learned some more card making techniques that you can apply with any of your stamp sets. We will continue on in this series after the new year. That's all for now. Thank you for watching. This is the Paper Chef.